I was just starting to make the tea for today, and I thought, wait a minute, I should stop and share it with you. So I already put 1 spoonful of yarrow in. You might think about yarrow in terms of cardiovascular health, but yarrow also has a lot of efficacy on respiratory health and is actually really helpful if something's going around or if you maybe have a little tickle in the back of your throat. You're going to sense a theme here today. Tulsi is a plant that you might be familiar with in terms of staying in a good mood, but that's not all that Tulsi can do. Tulsi is another plant that is super helpful when there is a respiratory whatever going around, whenever you feel things in your head starting to slow down, mucus starting to thicken, your sinuses starting to get a little bit clogged, maybe a little bit of postnasal drip. Actually, I'm gonna put in another ½ spoon of Tulsi because I'm pretty excited about it. There we go. Okay, so that was actually 2 whole spoons by the time I put it all in there. And then some goldenrod. Goldenrod, you know the Latin name for goldenrod, solidago, it means to make whole. And goldenrod is very effective, both in terms of supporting barrier function in the immune system, which means keeping your mucous membranes healthy throughout the whole body. But goldenrod also has pretty significant volatile oil content that can really help to fight pathogens, especially in the respiratory system. Incidentally, also in the urinary tract, really helpful for UTIs. I'm just gonna sort of push that in more. Goldenrod is one that I harvest myself every year because I really like the flowers more than I like the leaves. And you really can't get the flowers in commerce, so I usually I harvest that and dry it myself. I'm gonna put in some thyme. If you've ever done a thyme steam, you know thyme will really clear out all of the crud that you've breathed in just from being at work, being at school, being wherever you've been all day with people who are all breathing out germs. And thyme is just super effective in that regard. So I'm gonna put in 3 spoonfuls. I don't really love the flavor of thyme, but it's really, really effective. So this was gonna be a super delicious tea until I went and added all that thyme to it. But it is now gonna be still a mostly delicious tea, but super effective. And with a little bit of honey, it'll be great. I'm also putting some calendula in. Now, calendula has a lot of different actions, but the one that I'm looking at here is that it is actually my favorite herb for dealing with any kind of fungal infection in the sinuses. And so many sinus infections have a big fungal component, and it's really overlooked. So, you know, it's not just viruses that can get into us. All kinds of microbes really want to live in us, in community with us, and many of them we don't actually want to have in here. So calendula is really helpful there. And then 2 herbs to support lung health. The first one is mullein. Mullein helps when you've got a little bit of a cough. It helps to make it a lot more effective. And I do have a little bit of a cough right now. When you're starting to get a cough, that is actually your immune system trying to eject things out of your lungs. So you actually, you don't want the cough to be hacking and sort of a dry, hacking, pointless cough where nothing happens, because that just eventually will make your muscles sore around your ribs. But we do want to get that stuff out, and mullein can help loosen it up so that the coughing that you do actually brings stuff up and out of your lungs. And then lastly, some marshmallow leaf. Marshmallow has a nice moistening action, very soothing for the whole respiratory tract. So if you're feeling any kind of sore throat or just irritation, it's really helpful. Also really helpful for the health of your mucous membranes, which play an enormous role in keeping you healthy, because those mucous membranes actually prevent the pathogens from being able to get from the outside world into your body. It's like a barrier between the world and you. So if your mucous membranes are healthy and strong, you will get sick less often because that barrier function is strong and intact. So now I have all of my herbs here in my Airpot. This is just like you would see in a cafe with hot coffee in it, except now it has herbs in it. I just toss the herbs right in there. I'm gonna fill it up with boiling water. I'm gonna let it sit for 15 or 20 minutes so that everything can get good and strong in there. And then we will just take out 1 cup at a time. When we do, we put a strainer right on the cup because little bits of herbs will come out. And you can just drink that if you want to, but I don't. I like to strain it first. And this will last us most of the day, and it's gonna stay good and hot all day long. Now, I made this pretty strong, so even once it's empty, I can probably fill it again at least halfway full and still get a lot of good qualities of the herbs.